Morning.
Morning. Morning.
So I was asked to do this by a couple weeks ago by Mr. Clayton and Mrs. Clayton to come in and speak, and for the life of me, I really didn't exactly know what exactly to say, but I think what I wanted to do was not necessarily preach and hammer in, the importance of grades. What I wanted to do is give some life examples. Because for me, myself, in order to stay motivated, I have to have some examples of this in order to keep going. So I love reading autobiographies. People like Ben Carson and The Pact. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with those group of young gentlemen. They're medical doctors. I'm a doctor, so they're pretty near and dear to my heart. But they went through some trials and tribulations and struggles and things like that, which definitely helped me, particularly through med school. Med school was a real tough time for me. So there was a couple quotes that was mentioned in the video that kind of stood out to me. Don't let fear prevent you from attaining your dreams. And the other one is, let the champion inside you be unleashed. How many undergrad brothers do we have in here? Raise your hands. All at that time. Okay. So, it's important and vital for you guys to understand that you guys have the capabilities to become something special. Okay. And a lot of times, when you're going through college, even high school and things like that, you need to, it's important to have some type of mentor, somebody, for you guys to look up to, because these goals and dreams can be accomplished. Okay. So I'm going to start out with just talking about kind of my life experiences. So I was born here in Tulsa in the year of 1982, which is, I think it was a pretty important year because I think it was the Jim Kelly, John Elway, Dan Marino. I think that was the number one class that got drafted that year, and I'm a football fan. But ironically, I was born at Hillcrest here in Tulsa, and that's the hospital that I work at. So that's pretty special to me. But when I was 2 years old, I moved to Maryland. My father and my mother moved out there. My father enlisted into the Navy, so I moved out there, stayed there until I was about 6 years old, and then he got restationed to Puerto Rico. And I believe I stayed there until I was about 7 years old, and parents got divorced, and we moved back here in Tulsa when I was 7. The whole divorce issue, and I'll talk about this later on, the fact that less than half of African Americans have married couples in the household, it's a very big deal. Compared to our counterparts, Caucasians, about 80%, even Hispanics, 70%. I could get into the whole host of reasons why that is, but that's for another lecture. That kind of goes into the disparities of why there's such a low percentage of African American males going into college and even graduating. Okay. When I came back, my grandmother, she's not here, but she kind of felt like I needed to bridge into a public school system because at that time I was pretty much on military bases. So I went to a private school, Immaculate Conception, which is no longer open, I don't think. So that was probably the worst set of students that I've ever been around. Okay, these students, I don't know if they got kicked out of public schools, but got into a lot of arguments, a lot of fights and things like that. But my parents felt like it was a pretty good transition for me. So then the next year I went to Hawthorne Elementary. Okay, so Hawthorne Elementary was called Hawthorne Bulldogs back in the day. Okay, and it wasn't magnet school. It's not Hawthorne Hawks, which is what it is now. But from what I remember, I think we all had the test scores at Hawthorne. I think has always been pretty decent. Two things that I remember about Hawthorne Elementary, which kind of helped catapult me towards education or the thought of making good grades and things like that, was my mother decided to get a job there. And she worked in the secretary's office. And she made sure that she knew every teacher, counselor, vice principal, principals, and all that, okay, to make sure that they kept an eye on me, made sure I did all my classwork and all that, okay? Another thing that stood out to me is that my 5th grade year, I had some academic issues, and my mother felt like I was not, or the teacher was not performing up to her capability, so she pulled me out of that teacher's class and into another teacher's class, Miss Miller. I remember her. She was very, very good. So, sorry, Mom, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you know, she did a lot of things, a lot of good things for me, as you guys will hear. So that was pretty significant. I went to Edison Middle School, okay, and